I learned a word once, and it sort of messed me up in the best kind of way. Sonder. If you don't already know, it means the realization that every single person that you see in passing, every single stranger that you lock eyes with, even if it is only for half a second, is living a life just as complex, emotional, painful, and detailed as your own. And once you really think about it and understand that, you don't move through the world the same again. There are days where I walk through crowds and I feel invisible. Like I'm just drifting past faces, bodies, noise, whatever it may be. Everyone feels like background characters in a way. But then Sonder suddenly hits, and all of a sudden, that guy staring at his phone isn't just some guy. He might be waiting on news that could change his entire life, and we would have no idea. That girl laughing too loud with her friends might be doing it so she doesn't cry when she gets home. That couple holding hands could be holding on to the last good thing that they ever have. Every single one of us is carrying something. Most of it you'll never see because we're taught to see the world through our pain and our heartbreak, through our trauma, through our anxiety, and through our anger. And that makes sense because pain is loud when it's yours. But when you look at it through somber, you start noticing tiny little details. The tired eyes, the forced smile, the way someone flinches at a raised voice, the way people apologize too much. Those aren't just random habits, those are survival skills and survival instincts. I think about how many people are just functioning and not living their life to their fullest potential or thriving, just surviving long enough to make it through to the next day. Smiling at work, joking with friends, scrolling at night, and then afterwards laying in bed and wondering why they feel so empty. You don't know who's fighting themselves at 2 a.m. You don't know who hasn't felt safe in years. You don't know who still hears voices from their childhood echoing in their head. You don't know. And that's the whole point. There's this idea that strength looks obvious and loud, or that healing looks obvious and loud, right? That broken people are so easy to pick out and spot. That is a lie. Some of the strongest people that I know are barely holding it together. Some of the kindest people I know learned kindness because they were hurt first. And some of the quietest people I know have the loudest thoughts. Sonder teaches you that pain doesn't need permission to exist, and it doesn't need to look dramatic to be real. I think about all the times that I was angry at someone without knowing their full story. It could be something as simple as the driver who cut me off, or the friend who didn't text back, the person who snapped for no reason. What if they were drowning that day? What if they were grieving? What if they were exhausted in ways that sleep doesn't necessarily fix? And I want to make it clear, Sonder doesn't excuse bad behavior, obviously. but it can explain humanity. And sometimes I catch myself thinking that I'm behind in life. I know I've said that a couple times, that everyone else has everything figured out. But then I remember every single one of us is improvising, because nobody really knows what they're doing. They're just better at hiding it than I am. That overconfident guy, he could be terrified of failing. That super successful businesswoman, she could be terrified of slowing down. That happy couple we talked about earlier, they could be fighting when the doors are closed. We're all pretending to be okay because we think everyone else is. There's something very humbling about realizing that you're not the center of the whole universe. And I don't mean that in a necessarily negative or sad way. I think it's honestly kind of freeing, because it means that your mistakes aren't as loud as you think. The awkward moments that you might curl into a ball and start crying about aren't immortal. And your failures aren't being replayed in everyone else's head because they're so busy replaying their own. I'd also like to say Sonder makes love feel heavier. Because when you love somebody to that degree, you are loving an entire lifetime that you did not experience or live. Their childhood, all their wounds, all their fears, and their memories that you will never fully understand. And when that love hurts, it's not just about the current present moment in time anymore. It's about two entire histories kind of colliding together. Two people trying their very best with the tools that they are given. I think about my girl sometimes, about how I know parts of her story, but not all of it. About how even love doesn't grant full access to someone's inner world. And there's nothing wrong with that, and it's okay, because love isn't about owning somebody else's pain. I don't want you to look at it like that. It's about respecting it, about choosing gentleness even when you might not understand everything. And Sonder might help kind of be a cushion for that. It'll make you softer. I know it made me softer. It made me definitely take a bunch of step backs and pause before I was so quick to judge. Listen longer, speak slower. It made me realize that most people aren't trying to hurt you. They're trying not to hurt themselves. Every person that you pass is living a story that didn't start when you noticed them. They had parents, they had first loves, they had moments that shaped who they are. They had nights where they cried silently, they had mornings where getting up felt almost impossible. And yet, they are still here, walking past you, breathing, trying just as hard as you. So, if you take anything away from this video, let it be this. Be gentle and be patient with strangers. Be kind to people who might not deserve it. Not because they're right, but because you don't fully know their chapter, and you never will. And be gentle with yourself too, because you're not weak for feeling so deeply. You're not some project that needs fixing just because you need more time. And especially since you need more time, you're not behind. Sonder reminds us that the world isn't empty. It's full of quiet battles, of unseen courage, full of people just trying to make it through the day. And maybe if we remembered that more as a society as a whole, we'd hurt each other a little less. And that's Sonder. One final thing before I go. Sonder also makes you realize how many people never got the chance to be soft. How many people grew up having to be alert instead of carefree? How many kids learned silence before they were able to learn safety? And how many adults are still dealing with it and living in that defensive mode? Some people weren't taught how to rest. They were taught how to endure. And they carried that into their adulthood, into their friendships, to their relationships, into love. And that's why some people pull away when things get good. And why some people flinch at affection. Why some people don't know how to receive kindness without suspicion. It's not because they don't want love or don't feel love necessarily. It's because love once came with conditions. Sonder teaches you that healing isn't linear, that progress can look like distance, and that someone can care deeply and still struggle to stay. Everyone that you meet is somewhere on that path. Some might have just started. Some might just be halfway through. Some might not even know they're walking in it yet. And again, you would never know. So please, 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 be nice to people. And if you're watching this and feeling seen, I want you to know something. You're not strange for the way you are or the way you feel, and you're not dramatic for the weight that you carry. You're not alone in this world, even when it might feel like it. There are people passing you every single day who understand your pain without knowing your name. So again, walk gently, love patiently, and give people the grace that they need, including yourself. Because every single stranger that you see is a universe that you will never fully explore. And every one of us is just trying to survive our own stories. Thank you all for watching. And as always, stay rolly.